I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical. This is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. And obviously, I did not survive the zombie apocalypse last night. This is our Halloween special, and of course the only thing that makes it a Halloween special is the fact that I'm actually wearing makeup. Halloween's the middle of the week, so we figured we'd do a little bit something different. Me and Chester are about the only thing that is Halloween in this episode, so go ahead and stay tuned. Nothing corny, nothing strange, just figure we get a little bit of the zombie stuff in there. Anyway, what we got for you today is we're going to talk a little bit about budget rifle scopes. This was prompted by a thread on Sniper's Hide, a gentleman talking about the new budget rifle scope he bought, and that thread went downhill in a hurry. So I wanted to try to talk to you about my view on budget rifle scopes. Now, I say budget rifle scope. If you look at the scopes that are laid out before me, we've got a $3,500 Schmidt & Bender PM2 down to a $230 Bushnell Tactical 10X. That is quite a difference in price ranges here. But that's the interesting thing when I say budget, because my budget may not be your budget, may not be the guy next door's budget, or the guy that's living in the subdivision or driving the Jaguar down the street. So here's the thing. The old rule of thumb that your rifle scope needs to cost more than your rifle, let's crush that up, ball it up, and let's chuck it out the door. That's BS, and I'll tell you why it's BS. Like many rules of thumb, it does not take into account your situation or your specific variables. Now, let's apply it to me, for instance. My rifle right now, my regular match rifle, is an Accuracy International AE Mark II. The rifle scope that is on that rifle right now is not worth more than that rifle. It doesn't need to be, because the rifle scope that I have on that rifle right now does its job, does everything that I need it to do to give me the best possible chance of winning a rifle match. Now, once I've reached that level, spending any more money on that scope, in my opinion and in my situation, is money that I could have spent elsewhere for more ammo, for more training, for more gas to get to more matches, and more entry fees to give me a chance to win more matches. So yeah, I could dump another $2,000 onto that rifle, but that would not add value to the system for me. So for my budget, I've got it set up where I need to have it set up. Now, if I had an unlimited budget, factory sponsorships, I wasn't worried about money, and I could just select whatever I wanted to select to shoot, then sure, I may go up and I may put a next higher level scope on that system, just because that eliminates any further possible errors. It gives me just a little bit more of an edge. It may not even be a tangible edge, it may just be a mental edge. So if you're unlimited, sure, throw all the money you got at it. Most of us are not working with an unlimited budget. In fact, more and more the guys that I'm coming in contact with are really pressed to get enough money to go out and just shoot. The ammo that we shoot through precision rifles is extremely expensive. Even if you reload, bullets and powder are getting more and more expensive to load up your own cases. So we're more and more concerned about our budgets. So if you're more concerned about your budget, it's even more vital on the low end that you make a good choice about your rifle scope. You don't want to buy something and then in 2 months have to replace it because now it's broken. You don't want to buy a rifle scope that has all kinds of whiz-bang features on it and then you can't actually get to the range, because once you've got there, you've lost your zero, you broke your turrets, the side focus won't work anymore, or all this stuff. So on the bottom end of scopes here, this is really the point that I want to cover the most. We know Schmidt & Bender PM2 is an excellent rifle scope. The next one down from it I've got is the Bushnell Elite Tactical HDMR. We know this is an excellent rifle scope. This scope is winning competitions. It's on the winners' rifles. You go check out any of the Precision Rifle Series photos, group photos. You'll see these scopes stuck on rifles in there. Excellent rifle scope. I'm going to talk about these three on the end here. This is a Falcon Optics Menace 4 to 14 power. You don't see a whole lot about these scopes anymore because when they first came out, they were awesome. It was one of the first budget, first focal plane scopes that you could actually rely on. Now, for those of you that are just joining us and haven't seen our other optics sections, first focal plane means that no matter what your power setting is at, the reticle is correct. You don't have to apply any correction factors. When I first got back into precision rifle shooting, this is the scope that I put on my super cheap bottom barrel budget Remington 700. Put it on there because I knew I wanted a variable power scope. I needed more magnification to shoot 1,000-yard competition. I didn't have a lot of money to spend though. I think I spent somewhere just under $400 for this rifle scope. Variable power. It had a mil-dot reticle, so I could still range with the reticle and I could still do accurate holds with the reticle. It came with minute angle turrets, and this was for two reasons. One is I didn't know better, and secondly, these scopes weren't available with mil turrets at that point in time. I probably would have still selected it even if I knew better and had experience with the mil system back then, because it just wasn't available otherwise. And it had a parallax, side focus parallax here that adjusted all the way down to 15 yards, which allowed me to actually do dry fire inside my house and have a clear sight picture. So it was a really good scope. Still had 30 millimeter main tube, had a 44 millimeter objective. So it's a relatively compact scope, a little bit long with the sunshade on it, but it worked very well and it was cheap. It was cheap enough that I could still afford to fly out to the Oregon Sniper Challenge. I could still afford ammunition to train for that. And the first year that I shot the Oregon Sniper Challenge, I won it with this scope here. So you can win a competition with a budget rifle scope. Subsequently and ironically, I won a US Optics scope in that competition, and that replaced this scope on my competition rifle. I then dropped this on an AR-10, and this thing's probably got somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 rounds underneath it, and it still keeps on chugging. It's my spare scope right now. I swap it around whenever I throw something together and just need to throw a rifle scope on it. So it's good to go. There are better options out there now, but that's a really good example of skating the razor's edge between features and cost. All the features on the scope work. There's nothing extra that's just shiny to catch your eye that doesn't work. It is really the bare minimum. Now, there were some quality control concerns at some points. I haven't worked with any of the latest Falcon Optics scopes, so I don't want this to be a across-the-board endorsement for Falcon Optics. We've talked to them about getting some of their later options in to check out and see if their quality control is still running well and see if their newer scopes are still holding up to the same level as this scope. Now, if you're really pinching pennies and you really need to keep your budget in check, then these last two scopes are for you. This is an SWFA SS 10 power scope. It's a fixed 10 power. The only extra on the scope is it does have adjustable parallax right here in front of the eyepiece. The parallax adjusts down to 10 meters, which is pretty close for a fixed 10x. It goes all the way into infinity, of course. It is a mil scope. It has a mil-dot reticle and mil turrets. This is a great entry-level scope. It has a 30 millimeter main tube on it, which gives you a decent amount of elevation adjustment for long-range shooting. These scopes are proven. There are tons of them out there. They're made in Japan. They're not the cheap Chinese scopes. They have adjustable diopter on them, so you can adjust the reticle to your eye. And the newer versions of this scope have the mil-quad reticle in it, which is a little bit better than the standard mil-dot reticle, in my opinion. If you want to know more about the mil-quad reticle, check out our SWFA SS 5 to 20 power review, and we talk a little bit more about the mil-quad reticle in that video. But this is a great scope. Retails about $300. If $300 is stretching it, there's one last budget scope that I will recommend, and if you've seen our Budget Precision series, then this scope is no stranger to you. This is the Bushnell Elite Tactical 3200 10X. Now, they have dropped the 3200 from the new scope name, so it's just the Elite Tactical 10X. But this is a fixed 10X, has a 1-inch main tube. There is no parallax adjustment on it. It's a fixed parallax from the factory. It has a diopter adjustment back here, fast focus eyepiece, so you can still adjust the reticle to your eye. It has a mil-dot reticle and mil-radian turrets. The turrets on this scope are probably about the best feeling turrets I've found on a budget scope. They really have solid clicks. It makes it really fast for you to dial your adjustments in and get it there. They return to zero very well. They're resettable, of course, and they reset very easily just by removing the top screw. It's a 1-inch tube, so you get a little bit less elevation adjustment than some of the large 30mm tubes. It still has excellent glass in it, excellent coatings, great light transmission. This is really one of my favorite budget scopes available. This scope is an excellent value at $230. I really would not suggest you spend less than that on a rifle scope. If you can't pony up $230, then I would really suggest you just save for a little while until you can. You may be able to get shooting faster if you buy one of these $100 rifle scopes and throw them on there, but I can almost guarantee you that you'll want to replace that relatively quickly, and if it doesn't fail on you fast, I'll be surprised. I've seen guys before buy these $100 rifle scopes and then spend $40 to $50 worth of ammo trying to get the thing zeroed. So in the end, on a precision rifle, you just really don't save any money. So save a little bit more, pick up one of these. The SWFA SS 10X or the Bushnell Elite Tactical 10X are great values for the budget rifle scope. We haven't done a full review of the Bushnell Elite Tactical 10X. That may be in the cards here in the future. The SWFA SS 10X is on loan to us from the boys at Dial and Shoot. They also sent us the 5 to 25, as I mentioned. We'll be doing a review on their products here very soon. Well, that's all for this week's show. If you got a question for us, please send it to us on Facebook or Twitter, or leave it in the comment section below. Questions for next week's show, please put them in the comment section below. If you've liked this video, please make sure you click that thumbs up button. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, please click that subscription button. It helps us out and it helps us show manufacturers that you guys like what we're doing and want to see more. Until next week, even if it's with a budget scope, get out and shoot.